welcome to U News for Tuesday, August 27th. I'm Andrea Linares. Puerto Rico under a hurricane watch and tropical storm warning. Dorian expected to hit Puerto Rico Wednesday as a tropical storm, and the system could possibly reach Florida by this weekend. Univision Chief Meteorologist Albert Martinez has been tracking Dorian from the Weather Center, and he joins us now with the very latest on this. Albert, what do we know? Much supplies and canned food. Meanwhile, now changing topics in Oklahoma, more than 6,000 people have died from opioid-related overdoses in the past 19 years, and the state says Johnson & Johnson is responsible for this. So officials there sued the pharmaceutical company for $17 billion. They only received a portion of that money, but as Carolina Sarasa reports, some are hoping with a federal trial just a month away, it's enough to make drug companies feel the pressure. With us to discuss the verdict is Danielle Helfrey-Jurye. She's a professor at Boston University's School of Law. Meanwhile, President Trump is back in Washington, D.C. after the G7 summit. He left key allies and onlookers dizzy as he shifted positions on some critical issues like the U.S. trade war with China, the country's relationship with Russia, and Iran. No American and Iranian leaders have met since the 444-day hostage crisis that broke relations and hobbled Jimmy Carter's presidency. Mr. Obama talked by telephone with Iran's leader Hassan Rouhani back in 2013, but Mr. Rouhani declined to meet in person. And today, Rouhani said there will be no meeting until economic sanctions imposed on Tehran are improved. Better yet, are removed. As the Amazon burns, controversy is brewing. The Brazilian president initially rejecting millions of dollars in aid from the G7, saying he wouldn't accept it until the French president apologizes. But now, as Lorraine Cáceres reports, Bolsonaro may be backtracking.
Bolsonaro says Brazil will only accept international aid if Macron apologizes, but we haven't seen any signs of that apology yet. Under international pressure to act, Bolsonaro said he might visit the region this week to check on firefighting efforts. Andrea, back to you.
Lorraine, thanks so much for that report. Still ahead on U News, details on actors of the Trump administration pushing back on reports that CBP wants to hold migrant families indefinitely in detention centers. This comes as 19 states and Washington, D.C. are suing to stop the administration from pulling out of the Flores settlement agreement, which limits the amount of time migrant children can be detained. Dulce Castellanos has more.
Days, they hold an estimate of about 40 to 60 days for family detentions. However, immigration attorneys say that an asylum case can easily be prolonged.
To Florida, where 4 employees of a nursing home are under arrest, charged in connection with the deaths of 12 patients during Hurricane Irma in 2017. After that hurricane, the building lost air conditioning, but the patients sat in there in the heat and were never evacuated. Michelle Jurado has details on this case. In other news across the country, actress Lori Loughlin and her husband are set to appear in a Boston court today. They're scheduled up next. Police make an arrest. A woman has been charged with the death of a prominent New York City chef after the discovery of his body in a hotel in Queens. According to prosecutors, the suspect is a sex worker linked to 2 other recent deaths. Paola Byron explains. Police say Verini has more than 24 prior arrests for drugs and prostitution since the year 2001. In Vermont, police say someone made up a story about finding a dog with its snout taped shut and throat cut, all to get free vet care. Jorge Hernandez reports. According to statistics, 10 women are murdered. There's new demand for action to stop violence against women. This comes after outrage over bungled investigations into the alleged sexual assault of several teenagers by local police. But women have also become the targets of some deadly shootings. Here's Azul Alvarez with more. Coming up next, not sure what you want. Are you sick of your teen ignoring your messages? Well, one dad has invented a very creative way to fix that. But first, a new warning about a phone scheme involving Mexican narcos. Annabelle Sedano has details in today's tech report.
Hi there, that's right, and we begin with this. A new scam is targeting Hispanic people. It starts off with Take That Kid. I'm Annabelle Sedano, and that was your daily dose of tech news. Have a good one, guys.
Adopting a dog could be a life-changing experience, but unfortunately, it is not for everyone. Maybe because of a lack of time, commitments, allergies, or even housing restrictions. But how about renting a dog? Xiomara Gonzalez Gobea has more about this new option for those looking to test the waters with man's best friend. Check it out. And Carolina Sarasa is actually very experienced when it comes to adopting pets, right? And she joins me now with a preview of what's coming up next in hour 2 of Univision. Caro, what do you have for us?
Andrea, I have 6 pets at home, but as for now, I do not want any more. But I know that in your household, you don't have any pets. So now with the new baby, I might bring you a new pet. How about that? We'll have to see your answer. But before you go and before I go, I have to tell you more about what's coming up in the second hour of Uninews. And after the mass shootings in Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas, the FBI is reporting a huge increase in tips, the community trying to prevent the next mass shooting. And also we have the latest on David Big Papi Ortiz, the baseball legend, now taking new steps to find out who was responsible for the attack against him in the Dominican Republic. And saying goodbye to a fashion legend, we will take a look at the life of Cuban-American designer Isabel Toledo. She passed away on Monday after a battle with breast cancer. We have details on her life and more coming up next. Now, Andrea, the million-dollar question. Do you want a new puppy for your house?
I would love one, but for now, I think I would need to actually use that renting option rather than adopting, because with a new baby on the way, I might not have all the time in the world to do so.
And you are right.
Thanks so much, Caro. We'll be waiting for you. But first, up next, it was a big night at the MTV Video Music Awards last night. Miriam Arias joins me with some of the highlights. So what do you have for us? A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Thank you so much for having me. Now, we had some pretty awesome performances, like you were saying, last night. And without a doubt, I have to say that some of the highlights were taken over by Latino artists. Starting with Camila Cabello, who performed Señorita with Shawn Mendes in
The growing presence of Hispanics in media, you know, watching the MTV Video Music Awards, to see that it's something quite big, right? To see the presence of Hispanics. Now, this event, this ceremony also turned quite political. What do you know about that? What can you tell us?
So it happens a lot in these ceremonies that they get a little bit political. Rapper French Montana and Glow star Allison Brie took a pro-immigration stance when they presented the award for Best Latin Music. Now, here is a little bit of what they said. Like the message, now French Montana added that the Latino musicians nominated are spearheading a movement in music. So that's what we got to see from them. Now, also, I want to mention Taylor Swift. She called out the White House during her VMA acceptance speech. She won Video of the Year for the Pride-themed anthem, You Need to Calm Down. And at the end of the video, she encouraged people to sign a petition calling out Trump and his administration for what she sees as a lack of acknowledgement on their part for the Equality Act petition for LGBTQ rights. Now, I want to show you guys a little bit of what she said. She says that petition now has 500,000 signatures. What do you think?
So Taylor Swift is getting quite political, and it's something new for her, right? Because she's actually come out to say that she regrets having been so quiet in the previous election.
Yeah, so recently when she released her new song Lover, which she also performed, she mentioned that in the previous election she didn't speak up and that was a mistake, and so she was ready to do so in this one, and as we can see, she's taking that very seriously. She's talking about it.
Well, thank you so much, Miriam, for that complete recap. And just really fast, who took home the most awards of the night?
So Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande were the most nominated. She got 2 and Ariana took home 1. So it was nice to see, you know, both of them.
Congrats to all. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for hour 2.